If you're thinking of getting started with your very first Airbnb, then I know exactly how you're feeling. You're excited, you're optimistic, you're probably terrified as well, and you're probably just paralyzed because you know there's so many things that you're not even aware of that you need to be worried about. And if that's you, well then this video is for you. And I'm going to give you 13 of the things that you do need to know before you get started. My name's Dave and I manage over 75 Airbnb properties. Right here in Belfast, we do over 18,000 guests a year, doing £4 million in bookings per year. But I remember what it was like whenever I got my very first one, and that's why I wanted to make this video. So the first point I want to give you is a bit of a reality check, a bit of tough love, but you need to hear it. This is a ruthless business, and it is a business because these are real guests that come and stay in these places. And if you're offering a substandard accommodation or poor customer service for those guests, you're not going to be in this industry for very long.
And we don't want that to happen, do we?
It's not just a money printing machine. Real guests leave real reviews, and they need to stay in your real product, which is the property. They're going to have tons of questions, so it's not easy money. And at times it can be really difficult to deal with guests, especially if they're very demanding and just downright rude or probably a bit crazy as well.
Yikes.
So you need to be going into this business with your eyes open. Research as much as you can, educate yourself, watch my videos, read my book. In fact, just get the Airbnb Success Blueprint, which I've made for people just like you who are just getting started. It just ticks everything off. It's the easiest, most best investment you're gonna make. Because knowledge is power in this. You don't wanna be walking in and making a mistake that's gonna cost you thousands. You didn't have to make that mistake. All right, point 2. Before you bring a property to market, before you've even decided on whether you're gonna use this particular property, you need to research, find out what kind of numbers that your property is even gonna be able to achieve. And there are multiple ways of doing that. One is you can use a tool called AirDNA, where you go on, you type in the street, the building, the actual address, and it will give you loads of figures based on other properties that are already on the Airbnb platform. And you can filter it to be the same size as yours. It'll show you trends over the year, average nightly rate, occupancy, all that sort of stuff. And that is really useful, and that's quantitative data. But that is often only one side of the story. We need qualitative data as well. And to do that, we need to get our hands dirty ourselves and go into the Airbnb platform. Once we're inside, we look at other listings in the same building or the same area as ours and are the same size as ours. Basically, just our direct competitors. Look and see what those properties look like, how are they finished, what amenities do they offer the guests, what sort of nightly rates are they charging, but crucially, how busy they are. And you can have a little snoop around through all those competitors' reviews, and you're going to see what real guests who stayed in those real properties have to say about your area. And another great little tip that you can do here, just copy and paste as many of those reviews as you can, put them into ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to give you a qualitative, reasoned explanation of what guests think about that building or that area. All right, next up is point number 3. Once you've got the property live, the next thing you need to do is actually get people to come and stay in it. And how we do that is by our advert that we advertise on all the platforms on, which is called your listing. And your listing needs to be good, like really good, because your property is showing up in search results alongside every other property that are available for those dates in your area, which could be dozens or hundreds. And so how do we stand out? Well, we are visual creatures. When we are scanning these search results, we're looking for things that either catch our eye or that blend away into nothingness that we can just scroll on by. And so by having an awesome main image, that is how you're going to stop the scroll and get the guest to click onto your listing. Invest in a professional photographer to come and showcase your place in its best light. Now, I say best light, not fake light. Like, don't be trying to like make a small space seem really big, or if you've got some really awkward, horrible thing out the back, don't just take a photo where you can't see it. The photos need to be true and real of your property, but just in its best light. But don't take them on your phone, or if you are going to take them on your phone, at least follow the best practice guide. In the blueprint, there is a photography guide showing you the height. Don't take them up here. Don't take them like this. Look, it's all there. It's definitely better to just pay a professional. But if you're going to do it yourself, follow the best practice guidelines. Number 4. So you've done the hard work by getting someone to click onto your listing out of the tons of options in those search results. So basically, if someone's been walking down the street, you've got them to stop and actually look and think, okay, I'll give you 5 seconds of my time here. Once they then land on your actual listing, then you need to properly convince them, compel them, and just make sure they book your damn place. Once someone lands on the property, the first thing they're going to see is your title. It has has to be really good, demonstrating the best things about your property. And I've actually got an AI bot that can help you with this if you click the link below, and you can basically hack your competition. So any of the properties that you're setting yours up to be just like, you can use the reviews of those properties to determine what your title should be. Next, you need to have thought about the order of your photos to ensure you're showcasing as many different places as possible in those first couple of seconds when the guest clicks on. Because remember, they really want to go. They just want to make sure, is this the place for me? And if it's not, I want to get it away from me as quickly as possible. So they might just click in. I would love to say most clicks end up in an X almost straight away, or a back almost straight away. Guests are just nosy. They think, oh, that's interesting. Click. And then go back. You want to keep them on there. And the way to do that is to have striking photos that showcase all different spaces at once, not 5 fucking photos of the same table. You want to have a killer title that's going to completely intrigue them to want to click read more on the description. And then in that description, you want to be really showcasing, and just bullet points, I think, is the best way to do this thing, because we're in a rush. We just want to know what is here. We can sort of see some stuff from the photos. We want to get clarification in the description about what exactly is available. And if you do that, and I think that happens within the first 10 seconds, if you can keep someone on the listing for that long, they're already on the way to wanting to book your place. And that brings us on to the next point, which is the next thing that they're going to look at once you've sort of convinced them to that extent. They're going to scroll down and see, how much is this? And that's why it's important that you have really robust and good pricing strategies for your property. You want it to be competitive enough where guests need to book it, will book it, but also high enough that you can actually make money from this place, and it represents the value that you're providing in terms of the awesome apartment. Let me put it another way. If you have an awesome apartment or property and you undersell it, you'll be fully booked, but you'll make no money. Now, your guests will love that, but you as the business owner won't. And another option is that you can have a property, I'm not going to say it's shit, but if you put it the price too high, then no one's going to book it. You're not going to enjoy that space either. You need to find the sweet spot where you're making loads of money and the guests think it's affordable and worth it and will book it. There are a million different reasons why your pricing needs to change on a daily basis. So I'll just run through some of them. Again, this is all in the blueprint. How many people are coming to stay in your property? If it's 8, that should be a different price than if it's 4. What day of the week are they coming for? If it's Saturday, it should be a different price to Monday. How many days are they coming for? If it's 1 night, it should be a different price per night than if it was 7 nights. What time of year is it? If it's your high season, it should be higher than if it's your low season. There is so many ways and reasons why your prices need to change. If you're trying to do it yourself, you're gonna leave either money on the table or bookings on the table, because you're going to either be too expensive or too cheap, and you're going to either get too many bookings at the wrong rate or not enough bookings at the wrong rate. And so I always recommend using an automation tool like Price Labs. It is going to do the heavy lifting for you. It is going to know all the market conditions, what your competitors are charging, give it all the rules that I've just talked about there, and it just works in the background. It is just genius. Next up, I want to talk about one that I actually probably should have talked about at the start, but I've put this in the wrong order for some reason. And it's about when you're getting your property ready, when you're kitting it out, it's important that you look and see what everyone else is doing, see what the competition is like, and then do your own thing. Do it better than what they do. You are bringing a property that's going to compete with them, so you need to be better than them, not the same. If you're the same, then the only things that matter are reviews and price. And if they've been going longer because you've just got started, they have more reviews, they're going to get the bookings. You need to be doing something completely different, better than they are, that's going to attract the guests who would have booked them to you. So be unique. Do memorable and really interesting but useful amenities. Now, what those are going to be different for you, for every place and type of accommodation that you're offering. But, you know, things like hot tub, pool table, Instagram shot things, I don't know, like something to stand out. You could have your own theme in the property. I know there's like a Bluey Airbnb in Australia. If you're a parent, you'll know who Bluey is. You can go and stay in Bluey's house. That property is a cut above the rest, completely standing out. Will be booked for like $900 a night, probably constantly, because it's so unique. You could have a property that caters specifically for stag do's and hen parties. Again, my idea of hell, but if you do that, you're going to stand out. Hopefully you get the idea. It's just about being different so that guests can't help but notice you. All right, next up, I touched on it right at the start, but the thing that's going to have the biggest impact on your business and whether your business succeeds or fails, crashes and completely burned to death, is the reviews you get. Every time someone leaves your property, Airbnb or Booking.com, send them a wee message saying, Here, how was that? Was it good? Tell everyone in the entire world how good or bad it was. And you know what? They do. Every guest is pushed, and they not just pushed once, they get reminders. Don't forget to leave a review for this place. So there's nowhere to hide. If you've been a bit cranky and been a bit rude in a message to them because you're sick answering the question of can we have more toilet paper for the 100th time, if you're a bit rude to them, they're going to remember that. If the place isn't clean, they're going to remember that, of course. If you've tricked them by using a fisheye lens to make your small place seem really big, they're going to be disappointed, and that goes in the review. There really is nowhere to hide. Revenue follows reviews. The better reviews you get, the more revenue you get. The worse reviews you get, you just make no money. And that brings us on to point 8, which is to really focus and consider and think about the guest experience with your property. And it's not even just about when they're there, it's in the run-up, so all the messages they have before they arrive, the check-in itself, how do they find that? Obviously the experience of being in the property, and then the check-out. There are multiple things along all of these touch points that you can, to put bluntly, fuck up and ruin, that's going to ruin that guest experience. And there are also ways that you can have positive experiences in each of those touch points that's going to lead to a better experience and a better review at the end. For example, if the check-in is completely confusing and convoluted and you send a message that is hard to read or understand and the guest can't get in, that's a really bad first impression. Likewise on check-out, if you send them a list of chores of things that they need to do and have also charged them a cleaning fee, that's a really bad last impression. And the last thing you want to be doing right before the little ding goes and Airbnb says leave a review. So it is really important to think and consider that guest experience. Think about the rapport that you can develop with them. Think about the service you can offer them, because at the end of the day, we need that 5-star review. Next up is point number 9. Now, I hate to be blunt, but I'm going to say it. I've been blunt quite a lot in this video. Airbnb don't give a shit about you. All they care about is themselves first, the guests next. We are just one little grain of sand and Airbnb owns the whole fucking beach. In their eyes, there are plenty more hosts where we came from. My point is, you cannot rely solely on them for your entire business. If they decide they don't like you anymore and just cancel your listing, or if they change their algorithm where at one point you were flying high in page 1 and the next thing, oh no, we like tree houses now, and you're gone. Or if your account gets hacked, or if their account gets hacked. Like, there's so many reasons why relying on one source of income for your entire business is a terrible idea. So please, to sleep better at night, list your property on other booking sites. Booking.com is the biggest one. If you're only going to do 2, do Airbnb and Booking.com. But it makes total sense to just list on all of them. There are millions and millions of more eyeballs that don't use Airbnb, all these millions of bookings that if you are not on those sites, they don't have a chance to even book you. The best way to manage all of this is to use a PMS or channel manager like Guesty, and if you click the link below, there's a awesome discount on that for new people, but it is the best platform to get you on all of these different booking sites with no extra stress or hassle. And it's also got far more functionality than just the channel manager like a lot of other options are, which actually brings me on to my next point, which is systemization. Now, to run this business, if you're just getting started with one property, it might be fine. You just run it ad hoc. Oh, I'll take a booking today, or oh, what are we doing today? Who knows? But the longer you go in this business, the more guests you have, the more annoying questions that you get, potentially the more properties you bring on, cracks start to appear. You need to run this business in a repeatable, systemized way. And that goes for all aspects of it. So when a booking comes in, what is the system? What happens? What do you send? When do you send it? Do you send the same thing to every guest? Again, Guesty can help with this, these automated messages. But my point is, you need to have repeatable processes, because that is how you ensure every guest gets the same experience. That's also how you can systemize the business to eventually get some help and support yourself if you ever decide, I don't know, to have your own fucking holiday. It's how you tell the cleaners, if you outsource your cleaning, what way to clean your property, what way do you leave stuff. That's a system. It sounds a bit more highfalutin, but in reality it's just like, how do you do the business? Next up, we're talking direct bookings, because yes, Airbnb don't care about you. You know what? Neither does Booking.com, neither does Expedia, neither does Verbo. None of them do, but I care, and I want to help you get direct bookings. And that's when you don't need any of those big international OTAs. It's just you and your guests. Now, they are hard to get, but they are worth getting. And there are lots of different ways to do it. You can look at videos on my channel. There's tons of stuff in here. My point with this video and this point is to just put it on your radar that if ever something goes wrong in your property, if the guest complains, goes and tells mum and dad Airbnb, you're the one that's gonna get in trouble for it. They believe the guests with anything, but when you have a problem, they don't care. So try and get direct bookings at all costs. If someone is a repeat guest, i.e. they're coming to your place frequently, once they've booked once through Airbnb or Booking, you can then get them to come back direct after that. You can also use social media platforms and profiles to showcase your brand and your property. You're gonna get eyeballs that way as well. And you can also just tell guests whenever they've booked, look, if you want to book direct, there's a discount here. 10%. Next up, and I want to talk about another business head mindset thing, and that is, look, we're always looking for marginal gains. We have to focus and try to have the policy of continuous improvement. So just getting a bit better every time. Don't go too hard on yourself at the start, because you're gonna make mistakes. Unless you get my bloody blueprint, that would be a mistake to not get. It's gonna stop so many mistakes that I've made and everyone else who gets started makes. But you're still gonna make some. Don't be too hard on yourself, but just ensure that you're not gonna make that same mistake again. But you know what? There'll be another mistake that you make. There'll be a system that you don't do quite so well. There'll be a thing you realize that's costing you a lot of money that you thought wouldn't cost you that much money. Stuff's gonna go wrong. Be kind to yourself, but try and make sure that we fix issues and don't let them happen again. Track your analytics. Always try and get the best rates possible. Keep evolving your property. Retake your photos. Like, improve the property. It does need more TLC than a standard rental. And the last tip is that I know when people are getting started in Airbnb, it seems hard. It seems scary, and it doesn't have to be. And so the next thing you need to watch is this video, because in it I give you 7 principles or guiding lights to use along your Airbnb journey. So trust me, you need to watch this, and I'll see you there.